Do it. Da, da, da. Oh, let me change the.
What are you changing now?
There we go.
We're
A little more
live.
little more face light. There we go.
Whew.
More light
I
face.
are tired.
You are tired?
I started a biking routine, so I'm doing like a 14K circuit every day, and my body is killing me.
Yeah, no thanks. No thanks.
I really got cozy this lockdown, like
Yeah, you
real
did.
cozy. I was one of those like don't want to be fat no mo, so I gotta get a little more active and start cutting out the sugar because do I ever like me some sugar? Today's show we're gonna be cutting her down at what time? 6:10 at the latest.
Quarter after.
Well,
6:10,
yeah, I give myself till 6:15, but 6:10. So we've basically got 45 minutes to cram in here. I apologize to anyone else, but schedules didn't work out today, and I've got to actually go. This is super stupid, but before Christmas, before all the crap went down at Christmas, I promised a buddy of mine that I would pick up a light from him. He's another fellow guy that works in radio, Ryan Lindsay. And I told him I was going to pick up one of these chandelier lights that he's like, yeah, you can have it for free. You just got to come pick it up. And then all the shit kind of hit the fan for Christmas. And, well, I never went to pick up the bloody light. So,
So now in May.
well, and but it's just always been this constant like battle to get out there and get the light. But I'm just been so busy. And also I forget because I'm horrible at that. I wonder if this week they're going to actually be sending out notifications.
I didn't get one just now. Let me just make sure.
Interesting, eh?
I just my boss actually wanted to be on, so my boss might be on the stream
Oh,
in the comments this week.
hoi.
He was asking me about it. He was asking me about it earlier today. He's like, "Oh yeah, what is that thing? Can I watch it?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can I? Like, is there like a comments thing?" I'm like, "Yes, please don't troll us." Please don't troll us.
Well, we've got actual 4 people up, so I'm guessing there's something.
I'm one of
that's
them,
gone
so we
out.
got 3 people.
Yay! So by the way, this week, one is right behind me. Got a whole bunch of road paraphernalia. I guess I
Nice.
shouldn't refer to it as paraphernalia, right?
Yeah, that could be a number of things.
I'll hold this up so you can see it in a few seconds. They sent me a couple of these. They're Rode NT USB minis.
Oh, you finally got those. Nice.
Chunky little buggers. And they
Yeah,
have,
I was gonna say for a mini, it doesn't
They're-
really look like a mini.
they're heavy. They're really,
Yeah.
really heavy. And they're hard to knock over. So I've got those, and they also sent me some stuff for networking.
So how does it attach to that little stand
Magnet.
thingy? I was
Magnet.
gonna say it's a magnet or a friction hold,
And
but
it's
that's-
actually quite a good magnet.
is it sturdy? It's like
Yeah.
neodymium.
Yeah, the thing doesn't knock over that easy. It doesn't knock off the magnet, so it's actually
Nice.
quite nice. Rather impressed with the build quality. I've got to go through. We're going to do a review on these. Also, kind of answer one of those questions of exactly how you hook multiple USB mics up to one computer with the new Rode Connect. So that's going to be the thing. Mikhail Sarma, I want to see. All right, here. There. Rode NT USB. Howdy guys from the
From
ATL.
ATL.
Audio
Atlanta?
Asylums from Atlanta? I'm guessing the ATL
No.
or
I don't know. There's dashes between the A and the T and the L. It's messing me up. I
Yeah.
don't know what ATL is.
Well, how's it going, Audio
Please
Asylum?
educate us. Educate us.
Hope y'all are well. Actually, quite well. Tired as all hell
Tired.
because of my new workout routine. Best mic under 200 euros. Holy crap.
So what's that? $400?
It'd be about 350, I think.
$350? Yeah.
Yeah, you do this one.
There's a lot of good options. I mean, that actually is a decent price point. I mean, the
Yeah.
AKG Perception 220, that's a pretty good mic
That's a
for
really
well
nice
under
one.
that.
Yeah,
Well
the
under that.
P220, I've got a video up if you want to check it out.
Shameless plug.
Think you could probably get... Well, if you wanted to go a little higher, NT2A, I think, comes in about that price, too.
The NT2A.
Or NT1, definitely.
Yes, definitely the NT1. NT2A is a good... They're very similar. It's just the NT2A, I think, is more flexible.
Yeah. Well, it's also a lot brighter on the NT1. That's one of the reasons I didn't go with it. It had... This one's a bright mic, but the NT1 was just a little extra. I was thinking about Shure MV7. If you really want a USB microphone, the MV7, it's a fantastic mic. But if you at any point want to plug it in through XLR, I found it rather underwhelming.
Yeah.
And Hint of Shrimp says, Bree! And yes, the Audio Asylum does say that's how we do it. Atlanta is ATL. Cool.
Nice.
We are from, I was going to say we're from the 6, but we're kind of, the 6 is in between us.
We're from the 613.
Well, yeah, I guess 613, I guess that works. Kind
There's actually, there was a record label for a while called 613 Records.
I think that was ripping off the one in BC that had Nickelback on it. The 604 was it?
Well, their whole thing was they only they would release any relatively decent music within the area. Like your phone number had to have 613, and I was like, well, that's an interesting business model. Is it really out there? No.
Yeah.
No.
819, baby.
Yeah.
819.
Oh god, you're on the other side of the river, bud.
Mikhail says, yeah, I don't use XLR. Hey, yeah, you can't go wrong with I do have an MV7 video up if you want to check it out. LOL, sorry, I forgot that's not my thing here. I go Bree in most of my circle because they know me for doing pig squeals. Oh, that is some handy information, Hint of Shrimp. Bree! Oh, there it is. I can't do pig squeals properly. I apologize to everyone listening.
I don't think you should be ashamed of that.
No, I know, right?
I don't think
you think a guy my size would be able to pull off a pig squeal here and there, right?
Wow.
Wow.
We went there.
Yeah.
We went there.
Hey, man, I get it.
So what about the
Mikhail.
So compare the
Sorry.
I haven't compared them side by side, but compare the MV7 to the NT USB. Which one would you do? I mean, the NT USB is cheaper, so that's
here's what I'm going to say about this before the video. First of all, Mikhail, do not get an XLR to USB cable. Do not do it. No, that is Yeah, no. I also have a video up about that, and it's horrendous. Don't do that. It's a bad
I would
idea.
love to buy one of those just because they're so cheap, and it would be a funny experiment. And
I've got one I'll lend to you.
Do they offer? Are there any out there that you've seen or anyone else here has seen that offer 48 volts phantom power supply? With
I believe Shure has one.
Okay, because I want to try it.
They're like $150. Oh.
I want to plug this in one, and I want to see just how badly that cable is going to butcher. Because this thing sounds pretty good plugged into pretty much anything.
You're going to be putting in something that's going to have battery power, and you're going to put it onto your $4,000 mic.
Yep. Ouch.
Yeah, so for the Rode NT USB Mini, the one thing I'm going to say about this, and this is one of the reasons I'm not doing a lot of mic comparisons to this microphone. Rode lists this as a microphone for doing light streaming, podcasting, and so on and so forth. That's the whole point of the Rode Connect, the fact that you can put multiples of these on a single computer. These are not being marketed towards voiceover professionals. These are not being marketed towards hardcore streamers. Everything about this, Rode knew what lane this was going to be in, and Rode put it in that lane. So when you're comparing this to the MV7, it feels kind of like an apples to oranges kind of comparison, because this is more something that your teacher is going to have in college than it's going to be that I don't see this as something that Ninja's going to be streaming with. So that said, and I've seen a lot of people, I think Podcastage did like a big roundup of comparing it to other microphones. When you look at where they're aiming this microphone for, it's meant for vocals. It's meant for talking.
That little volume knob on the front's kind of cute, though.
No, it's headphone volume, yeah.
Is that headphone volume or gain?
There's no gain on this.
Oh,
so I have not cracked open Rode Connect yet, whether or not
I was going to say
gain.
there must be gain in there somewhere.
There must be, or you just have to set your computer gain. But once again, it's exactly who it's targeting. It's targeting the people that want to plug it in and just, you can hear them.
Yeah, or just, I don't know, I think a good example of that is a buddy of mine just started taking, he's a saxophonist, he just started taking sax lessons online from somebody, and he was looking for like a good mic just to plug in, just to have a good, feed, he could put it, that's probably a good option.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Hint of Shrimp just got the notification for the stream. I had it almost immediately, but I had to go in and check my notifications, and there it was.
Yeah, it didn't do me a push notification for it.
So. Yeah, definitely no push. honestly, for this, like I've heard it on acoustic guitars. It sounds quite nice. Singing quite nice. It's very, very mids forward. I can honestly say that there's nothing special about the lows or the highs. It's just it's a decent sounding mic to talk into on a computer. Do you know a mic that's USB and good quality? Best of the best is going to be for USB is going to be the Shure MV7.
Probably.
There's no
for quality and flexibility and aesthetic. I think it checks all the boxes. For USB,
is there anything more expensive than the Shure MV7 for USB?
In the USB market, probably. I don't know because I don't
actively shop them now.
No, I don't do USB mics, but I'm sure there is. There must be. I wouldn't be surprised if Neumann maybe dabbled in that market because Sennheiser has them, and Neumann's owned by Sennheiser. So
wow,
if Sennheiser's dabbling with it,
I'm sure Neumann, well, and you know what I mean. What I like about Rhodes, like I said, they fit the aesthetic.
Is they get you to places?
Yeah, they fit the aesthetic, and they're not trying to be something they're not. Like the Blue Yeti is like, oh, you could do voiceover with the Blue Yeti. No, you can't. Like you just can't.
You can do half rate ASMR with the Blue Yeti. That's about it.
You can't do you're not going to be able to do proper audiobooks. You're not going to be able to do a lot of that content that they're trying to tell you can do. Voiceover work requires a quiet mic. This apparently has a brutal sound floor. Floor. I keep calling it a sound floor.
Noise floor.
Noise floor. And it's not going to be good. This isn't going to be a whisper quiet microphone.
Mosquitoes farting. It's not going to happen.
So, the video for that's coming out on Monday.
Ooh,
I'm looking forward to it.
Audio Technica has the AT2020 USB, which is $300. So that's getting close to.
That's
it's
almost
less
there.
Expensive, but it's.
AT2020 is a gorgeous.
Found it. The Antelope Audio Edge Go is $1,760.
Come on.
And it's a USB Type C.
That must have a gorgeous preamp in it.
Well,
for
again,
$1,700.
do you know anything about Antelope?
I know a bit.
They were the first company to create a converter with a maximum sample rate of 384 kilohertz.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, Antelope is they have some really good stuff.
Mikhail says, do you know a mic that's okay then? And I need an arm for that, but what do you recommend but not so expensive? Do not put a $300 microphone on a cheap boom arm.
Nope, that's going to go beep.
Do not do that. Make sure you spend minimum is, I would say minimum is the Rode PSA-1. They've also got the Blue Compass. There's a few of them around the same price range. Spend about $100 on your boom arm. And David says, finally, the Blue Yeti gets truth.
How expensive is a Blue Yeti?
They're like $200.
That's too much.
For what you get,
for that, that's too much.
And that's, you get, and this is the problem with the Blue Yeti. When you put it in your hand, it feels substantial. You feel like you're getting a great microphone.
Because they probably make the shell out of like 1/4-inch cast iron.
I think they actually do. Like it's impressive.
Like that's what it's like the when we did the live a few weeks ago and I used my new tube mic, which is so light and beautiful feeling and sounds lovely. And then I have my other tube mic, which is half the price, and it weighs 3 pounds more. And you're like, why? And then you realize reading the specs, it's made of ceramic.
Oh, wow.
Why? Why do they do that? They make it heavier. That's literally why they did.
Well, hey, why not?
Because because like most tube mics, you can slide out the whole assembly out of the chassis to get access to the tube and everything. And as soon as you take out the chassis, it's like, wow, this weighs 500 milligrams.
Well, it's funny too because like I've sat down with the TLM 102. Which one's the small one? The 102, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I sat down with the TLM 102, and it feels almost cheap because it's so light. Same thing with the AKG C414. It's so small and dainty. It's so cute. But then you've got the big chonkers, right? Like anything modeled after, Neumann.
Mm-hmm.
The big...
Well, honestly though, this U87, I mean, it's got the shock mount, so right now it's a little bit heavier. But when I was just now trying to get this onto my boom arm, which failed miserably, the RE20 is actually heavier, probably like at least 50% heavier than the U87 is, even though the U87 is by far larger.
How did you get that RA320 without, or RA20 without the 309A? How do you not have the shock mount assembly?
It was from a radio station. They had just a bunch of the non-shock mount. Plus, I wouldn't have wanted the shock mount anyway because the ribbons or the stretchies that come with that are shite.
Yeah, you know, but they're cheap to replace.
They are, and really you can get better. Like the ones that come with the U87 are, well, as you would expect, are like they're like cloth elastic. So these are going to probably last forever.
Well, it's funny too because I've got the NT2A, which has, I would say, similar. They're nice. They're the cloth elastics. And I got to say, like they've been going for 4 years now. Like, no problem. 4 years. Yep. And that's with me touching them a lot.
Yeah, so what the hell, Electro Voice? What is with this rubber garbage?
Well, it's because they have a continuous, it's almost like a subscription fee. They have. Yeah. Like, the radio stations have to order those by the boxes.
Yep.
Hint of Shrimp says, I'm going to make my own boom arm out of a broken broom and some duct tape.
Nice. Nice.
Just make sure you have nothing over, like, a MXL 990 on that thing.
CF Wheezy, I haven't seen that name in a long time.
Hey, he's been under his other name. He's got under his podcast name, Never Call Me Again podcast.
I haven't even seen that name in a while.
No, he was here last week.
Was he last week?
Yeah.
Last week was the weird one where, like, for the first half hour, nobody was here.
Yeah, right.
Out of nowhere, like 30 people.
Yeah, I didn't even bother looking at the graph for that one, but it was pretty painful to see. Mikhail, Blue Yeti and Blue Yeti mic arm from Blue Yeti's company is in my country. €200. Should I get that deal? I don't like the Blue Yeti. If you're going to compare a Blue Yeti to a Shure MV7, I would go MV7 all day. The Rode NT
but
USB.
it comes with a mic arm. MV7 doesn't come with a mounting option.
I would rather take a different mic arm than a different mic there.
But still, if you add the price of them, like if you add a PSA 1 of that, you had 100, well, maybe like 80 euros.
Okay, then go with the AT2020 USB and get the boom arm, the proper boom arm. Yeah. There are
have you used the AT2020 USB?
Oh, yeah. I haven't. It's decent.
Is it decent? Audio Technica is a weird company. They're like, at moments they're like Behringer, at other moments they're like Sennheiser. I don't understand. I just don't understand.
But they release a product that fills a need. And the AT2020, both the XLR and the USB, are both good. They sound decent for the price. But because that price is so much cheaper. Now, if you were to take the AT2020 XLR or USB and compare it to the Shure MV7, the MV7 would have the edge, but not on the XLR. And so I honestly think that the AT2020 is a better mic for all-arounder. That's not the dual, though. That's the problem with the AT2020, if I recall. They don't have dual XLR and USB, if I recall.
Oh, it's one or the other.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
It's probably just USB. It's probably just USB. Well, so it's like, but they're, like, I've got a handful of Audio Technica mics. And I've got a couple of high output, just handheld dynamic mics, which have actually really nice sound in them. I don't have the model number off the top of my head, but I have a shotgun mic from them, like a full-on shotgun mic. It's the AT835B, and it's a really good shotgun mic.
Do you use that very often?
I use it for any time I do video stuff. Yeah.
Can I borrow it for a bit? I know you were sitting here borrowing. Speaking of, I also have to send you that Shure 515 SA. Also, did you see the video on the Shure 515 SA? What were your thoughts? It was disappointing, right?
Yeah, it was disappointing. I expect anytime a company like that has like a vintage, like rarely before seen product, I expect that's like, man, this is going to be so, because, most of those companies over the years, you get two types of companies that over the years they learn what corners to cut.
Yeah.
And their products get progressively worse, like Mackie, for example. Or you get a company that actually, they start really tiny and their stuff is garbage, and then they get better and better and better, and then they hit a point and they get worse and worse and worse, i.e. Apple.
Yeah. I look at Shure, though. Shure has been riding the Unidyne 3 for 60 years.
Oh, yeah. That said, 65. I still want to try that Beta 181. I want to see what a Shure pencil mic sounds like. It's stupid expensive, but I just want to see it.
One of these days. I was really, I was thrown off because listening to it, you can hear the character in that Shure voice or in that Shure mic.
Yeah. So that I think says maybe what it is right there is it's a character microphone. Same way that tube mic, the Vanguard V13 that I demoed on a stream a few weeks back. That is also a character mic, as tube mics generally are.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be perfectly sort of flat ended like an SM7 or. They have their own character sound in them, which is good because it gives you something unique. If you're a voiceover person, though, probably not the best choice to go for a character mic.
No, definitely not. And I mean, this one also, you kind of want to pass out from the smell after a while. Really? David says, may I mildly disagree with boom arms unless you're throwing it around a Rode Procaster sits perfectly okay on a right British Neewer. And you can get them in blue, red, green. I wouldn't risk U87. You know what? It's actually not the problem of like the big thing with Neewer and a lot of the cheaper boom arms is when they fail miserably and they fail pretty hard. And
I've almost had side of my head taken off by one of those springs snapping on a boom arm, right? And it literally flew past my head at like Mach 1. I'm like, whoa.
Also, when the Rode fails, when the Rode PSA 1 fails, you call Rode and they hand you another one.
Really?
And
that's awesome.
That in itself is like, if you call them and say, hey, because like, I mean, I've had it for 2 years, but this isn't supposed to happen to a 2-year-old Rode. They're like, all right, one's in the mail.
Mika wouldn't do that.
No, Mika probably wouldn't. Although Mika's a decent company to deal with. I do like Mika.
I would assume. I haven't dealt with them directly yet, but at some point I will.
OC White will never get my money ever again. Ever.
Really?
I will never give OC White a penny of my money again.
Why not? Tell us the story.
I have the OC White low profile first gen boom arms, which they're a little chonky, but they're good.
I remember you were like, oh, this is awesome. I got this, and it was
do love them. But the problem is they released Gen 2 and they changed the specs of everything, including the mounts. So if you wanted to mount this off the wall or something, it won't fit the new holes.
Oh, see, I hate that. Even like I.
But then they stopped selling everything in Gen 1. So
one thing that's hang on, let me move my stupid camera here. The Mika. So this is kind of an interesting story, I guess, to a little bit of a juxtaposition to what you were just saying. Move you up, little buddy. So the Mika has this little end bit that I'm sure you've seen before. The little the indicator light. Now this is the original. This is Gen 1. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's got the indicator, which is irrelevant for me anyway. I just like it because it looks cool. And that's basically its only purpose. But with the Gen 2, they made it the entire sleeve is an LED, this whole section. And it's a bicolor. So if you feed in, they've put a sort of a diode in there so that if you wire up the voltage backwards, it makes a white indicator. There's two LEDs. It's a bicolor light, which I think is kind of neat.
For how much money?
Well, but so the thing is Mika makes it so you can the threads and everything are identical.
Oh,
so and they've put a connector inside the arm, so you can just literally unplug the bit, screw this little nub out, take this end piece off, and just buy the new end piece.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me!
For like $40, it's $40, but it still beats spending $500 for a new arm.
And here's the problem: I ended up just the grommet to drop this arm into the table. It's a metal piece with the hole in it. Cost me $80.
That's ridiculous.
For an OC White. And the fact that they discontinued everything Gen 1, which is only about 3 years old, meaning I can't get anything for this. So I'm waiting for them to rip down a radio station and for extra parts to come available because I've got 3 of these bloody arms and there's nothing I can do with them. 3 bloody arms. I wanted to mount my screens and everything off the wall. So no, I'll never give money to OC White. I'm actually in talks with Mika. I want to do like a boom arm roundup and like get some Mika, go over the concepts and stuff like that.
It would be a good sell. And I mean, I think for them, it'd be a great promotional opportunity because as much as they do their own stuff, there aren't a whole lot of Mika reviews floating around YouTube, mainly because the price is a little prohibitive for most people.
It can be, but at the same time, when you look at like, I know what I got for OC White. OC White has some quality gear.
Oh, yeah, and that's not to say that like OC White and Mika aren't worth it, but for someone just to buy it to review it, and assuming that Mika might not take them back if you review them. But
no, they do. I reviewed the Mika.
Somebody's using is
using the Shure SM7B.
I am using the Shure SM7B. Yes. Are you? Is that what you? I don't know what that means.
They take it back. I used the podcaster mic. The thing is like $1,000. By the time, and it's wireless and it records on the microphone. It was really cool. I did a review on that about a year ago when I had 0 subscribers. They sent it to me and I just sent it back to them. It was fantastic. Actually, that was right when the pandemic started. Yellow Tech, which is Mika.
Yeah.
So the one thing I did want to talk about today is there's some pretty big news in podcasting in Canada, and this isn't something we're going to spend a lot of time on because I know this doesn't impact everybody, but did you see the Dean Blundell news earlier this week?
Yes, I did.
Dean Blundell has merged. DeanBlundell.com has merged with Sound Off Podcast, 2 really big heavyweights in the Canadian podcast industry. I
spoke with what was his name?
Matt Kundle.
Matt Kundle. Yes, yeah. Matt. He's a knowledgeable fella.
It's fascinating to see. And this is where, this is kind of where the subject kind of moves away from Canada and it moves to the rest of the world. It's interesting to see how podcasting is literally slowly starting to build corporations.
Well, yeah, it's becoming what radio became, basically.
To a degree, but I don't think I don't think Bell, Rogers, Viacom, CBS, all them are going to be buying these podcast companies.
Well, I mean, Red Team, Rogers already owns 2, to my knowledge, 2 podcast companies that host a pretty significant series of podcasts.
Yeah, but they can't buy them all. You can't, this is the problem, right?
And I think this is the thing where is Industry Canada going to step in or FCC going to step in and mandate
content regulations?
Yeah, exactly. And going to mandate that, okay, you can't buy all of them, Bell, because if we let you, you will.
But no, they can't. There's no way that Bell would be able to buy all of the podcasts because that's ridiculous. However, when you have big names like Dean Blundell in Canada, Dean Blundell is would be a good American representation. Private Parts. What's his name? You know the movie.
Private Parts.
The movie Private Parts with New York jock, WNBC.
Oh.
Stern.
Oh, yeah.
Howard Stern. Dean Blundell is the Canadian Howard Stern, I would say.
Yeah, that's accurate. I'd say that's an accurate description.
Probably as much despised by people as you might think. Matt Kundle is basically a guy who works for Sound Off Podcast who's been doing this for years, but he's one of the biggest podcast personalities out of Canada on the radio side of things. And I'm curious to see where this is going to go. And I've had my kind of ideas tweaked because I do have a concept for a podcast that, no, I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is, Dylan, but I'm not going to tell you on here.
Are you rebooting what you did before? Or is it totally different?
No, this would be an interview podcast, but it's a unique interview podcast, one that nobody else has done. Also, I got to say, anybody that's been thinking about doing a podcast,
do it.
And you're into sports, the Seattle Kraken needs, they need like a representative. They need like somebody that's going to kind of wave their flag and podcast in YouTube form. They need that big presence, like trying to break into to be a Toronto Maple Leafs influencer, if you will. But I think a Seattle
there
Kraken
goes that word again.
Well, it's true though, right? Like
influencer.
Yeah, Steve Dangle is a great example, dude that I think could crush it. And he does usually, like he's at all the games, all that stuff. So I think Seattle Kraken, I'm waiting to see how many of them break out. I wanted to do one, but I can't stay up that late to actually do the podcast and watch the games.
Oh my God! You can give a $500 super chat. Sorry, I'm.
Can you do a $500 super chat?
You can. $500 Canadian. I just clicked it just to see how high the slider goes. $500.
Dylan, feel free to continue through. No.
No.
I split it with you.
Yeah, you split my own. I love that. It goes from $1 to $500.
I don't know what you're complaining about.
And all you get is a red background. Like, I'm sorry, if like I want a gold background if I'm spending $500. Sorry,
sure.
100. You can spend only 100 to 500. There's no difference.
Really?
In the indicator is for 100 to 500 you get red. For 50 you get purple. For 20 you get orange. For 10 you get yellow.
Yeah, but if you want red, what is the background though? The background of what?
Well, the background of the chat message will display, I guess, different colors depending on how big your super chat is.
Really? I never even knew that.
Yeah, so if it's $1, it's blue. If it's $2, it's teal. 5 is like a more greenish, I guess, teal. Again, 10 is yellow, 20 is orange, 50 is purple, and then 100 to 500 is red.
Huh. So that's all you get is the color of the chat.
Yeah, well, and presumably it probably says in subscript somewhere that, oh yeah, by the way, they spent this much.
Oh yeah, no, it shows up. Yeah, it does.
By the way,
show up.
This is not me mining for super chats. I literally just clicked the feature because I was curious.
I think we started talking about podcasting in Canada, and
now we're talking about
viewership
super
dropped.
Yeah.
Like viewership dropped right off the edge of a cliff. So
Podcastage. So I have an interesting story.
All right.
And something that I've noticed that's kind of dangerous about the SM7B. So earlier this week, I was tracking vocals on a thing, and I noticed some like wobbling sounds inside my SM7, which I still have to finish investigating. What the hell? Something is rattling in there that acoustically, like if I unplug the mic and I'm just listening to it like that, I can't hear it. But then when I plug it in and I do that, I can hear a little bit of movement. Like, what the hell is that? Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's not super like, again, if the mic's not moving, you wouldn't guess. But if I do that, there's a little bit of sound.
Really?
I bet anyone who's wondering, I'm not using this right now. That's why you can't hear it. But
I bet you any money, it's probably one of the little airbags they have in there for the
it's
capsule.
probably the pneumatic shock absorber.
Yeah, pneumatic shock absorber is probably come off.
So in passing, I took it off the Mika clip and was just kind of moving it around to listen to it. And I turned around the back of the mic and noticed that both the the high pass and the presence boost were both turned on.
Oh, really?
And I was like, when the fuck did I do that? At some point, I must have done some test with the mic and accidentally left both of those. And again, I'm never back here, so I'm never checking for that.
Bangs is here.
Yeah, good. Perfect timing.
By the way, Bangs says they're replaceable, by the way.
Oh, yeah, of course they're.
Yeah.
Just like the one that I got to replace in my RE20.
Are you sending that back anytime soon, or because they said to send it in and they would fix it, right?
I already got a new one. I already got a new little foam roll to put in with the thingy that they sent for free, which is pretty awesome.
It's nice to see Electro Voice actually taking care of stuff. Bangs, I'm curious, did you just get the notification? Because some people were saying they didn't get one. I'm just curious. My SM7, I wanted to actually take it completely apart and see the full anatomy, pull it apart.
It's really, it is bafflingly simple.
Well, yeah, I know it is. Well, I mean, most mics are bafflingly simple to pull apart.
I mean, they have a little bit of extra circuitry in there specifically for the presence boost, but that's about it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty straightforward design, which I think is the beauty of it.
Bangs thinks you need to install one of those little covers on the back so you don't mess with your settings.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way,
I did have that on for a while, but then I found anytime I went to go and actually use those switches, which like for singing, I have the presence boost off. For VO, I have it on. So it just made it annoying. I had to get a screwdriver every single time I switched from one mode to another.
That is a pain. Bang says, I didn't see a notification, but I've been busy. I did see you and my subscribe. Well, that's good to know. At least, people know. It was a better response today. I do have to say, I played with the Pile. What a pile of shit that microphone is. By the way, that is going to come into play when I do the video up in the title.
Hopefully you're not looking for any sponsorships from them in the future.
What are they going to sponsor me on? I've looked through their microphone
you never know.
lineup.
Maybe they're doing an R&D partnership with Sennheiser. You don't know.
Really, Pile.
They could totally have just something hiding up their sleeve. You'd never know it. They're just.
It didn't outclass any of the mics except the 515 SA. I think it was on par with the SM48, kind of. No, not the SM48. Sorry, the XM1800S. So it was on par with the XM1800S.
Which one's the shitty one again?
The XM1800S.
Okay.
That is the shittiest mic I've heard. And the Pile was on par with that. And it might have been a little bit closer to the XM8500.
The way you were saying on par made it sound like it was a good thing. And then that's why I had to ask which Behringer mic was the better.
No, like I would say like it didn't outclass the 515 SA. The 515 SA had its better character. Although there's a little bit of distortion in it, there was better character than the Pile. The Pile is also a $13 freaking mic.
I love how you popped a P with that too.
Yeah.
Pile.
I just I'm mad at myself that I bought it because somebody said, "Hey, you need to review this." Why am I reviewing and I understand why I'm reviewing the $13 mic, because why not? Right? Like that's kind of what I signed up to do. But then it's like, now I have this $13 mic that I feel guilty sending back because it's only $13. The Pile 58 clone, which I'm guessing is the Pudmic 58, which is what I have, crackles with me with a balanced cable, not in the audio. I mean, I hear it electrically crackling.
Did you do a review of the Heil, not Pile, Heil PR40?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I was going to say, there was another company like that I always get confused because
no,
no.
Heil and Pile.
But I remembered one of my sort of musician friends from the States on Instagram that like their producer sent them a Heil PR40, and I remember seeing the price tag on it and the fact I'd never heard of them, being a little bit skeptical. What was your consensus of that?
It was a good mic. Like, there's definitely nothing wrong with the Heil PR40, but you have to expect that it's going to be bright as hell. Like, it was a bright mic.
It is a dynamic, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, dynamic. It looks like it's a front address, but it's.
I know. Yeah. God, when I saw I was such an ass on Instagram when she posted the video of that she was testing out and singing into the PR40. She had it like what looked like sideways.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, that mic is clearly a front address.
They
and then
actually have printed on it front address, or I can't remember what it said because I actually sold the mic because I have no use for it.
Yeah.
And it said right on it, it said front address. And
which
it's hilarious
so weird because it looks like, the grill style is that of the P120 or the P220, which are side address mics. So
yeah, like Banks says, it's a ham radio mic, which kind of true. It's based on their ham radio mic. This was an actual mic meant for broadcast outside of ham radio. But it's true. The high end does cut through the static, and it does work well from a broadcast perspective. If you get the right EQ and the right compression on it, it sounds fantastic on my voice or the broadcast voice.
What is there's this mic? It's made by a Heil. It's called the Fin.
Oh, that's the answer to the Shure SH55SH.
It looks very. I mean, honestly. I don't know what it sounds like, but it looks really cool.
It's a little bit, I would say the 55SH has better kind of character to it. The Fin is a little bit, I found it was a little bit thin.
Did you get that when you were doing reviews?
No, I've watched several videos. Mike Delgadio did one on the Fin versus the 55SH because they're both very.
But they come in different colors.
Yeah, I money grab, and they look cute. I'm going to eventually pick one up, but I don't want to have to go pick up another 55SH. Although I might get the Super 55.
I would love to hear a comparison between, like, because they are showmanship mics. That's their purpose. So they obviously sacrifice a bit of sonic quality to be looking fancy.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear how two of that exact same caliber mic compare against each other.
Jimmy Jackson from Nigeria. What about Shure M7 mic? I'm guessing you mean the MV7. Shure MV7's fine. If you're looking for just a USB mic, AT2020 if you want to save a few bucks, and you just want USB. Unless you do need a multi-record setup where you're recording your mic to two separate recorders or interfaces. Yeah, I would honestly say. Either one of those two. I don't know the prices in Nigeria, though. The fin was used in the Hunger Games, according to Bangs. I never saw the Hunger Games.
Interesting.
Did you see the Hunger Games?
I did, but I wasn't exactly looking at the mic models.
It was used in the selection scene. How are you not looking at the microphone models? You're an audio guy. Come on.
Yeah, but it's a movie. My audio brain goes off when I'm watching movies.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I might pick up a fin, but that means I'll get a Super 55.
Honestly, so okay, finish that thought.
Oh, I'll get a Super 55, and that way I can kind of do an XY. Yeah.
The 55, I think, is cheaper than that, no? Than the fin. The fin's like, I think it was like $250 or something when I just looked at it.
Yeah, the Super 55 I think is $300.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Jimmy Jackson. Yeah, I'm using it with the Rodecaster. Do not buy the Shure MV7 to use with the Rodecaster. Spend your money. If you're going to spend that money that you'd spend on a Shure MV7, take that and put it into an Electro Voice RE20 or RE320.
You love that RE320.
It sounds fantastic. Or even better, if you're not looking for the sex appeal, because honestly, the RE320 looks so much better than the MV7. Like by a mile.
Oh yeah, well, it's got that ribbed kind of architecture.
Ribbed for your pleasure. The RE20. If you're not looking for, the Procaster's good. If you also want the ribbed, but if you really don't care about it, the Sennheiser E835 is a fantastic plug-and-go mic. I like it. The EQing there's a lot less EQing on that microphone for me personally.
I'm never gonna be able to look at this mic again now.
Let's even got the little head. Look at it. Don't ask what the grill's for. Oh.
No, so I have. So this is an interesting point. Sort of deviating from the gear talk for a second. So on a production front, I was listening to I was going through some Disney flicks this week, some old just classics. Just cause I was on Rotten Tomatoes, just a backstory, and I was looking at movies on Rotten Tomatoes that have 100% rating, and Toy Story is one of them.
Really?
I haven't seen that movie in forever. So I was watching Toy Story, and there's now, obviously, as an audio guy compared to when I saw that as a much younger gentleman, I'm listening to it. I'm listening to the sound design because none of that was recorded on location, obviously, because there are no locations.
No.
But I was listening to one scene, and obviously I was just at the thought that went into some of the sound design decisions. And the layering, I was like, "This is amazing," and nobody notices this stuff, which makes me so sad.
But that's good sound design and layering, is if nobody notices.
So one example is, at one point they show them packing up a bunch of toys into different boxes, and they're putting the boxes on a dolly, and the one at the top of the dolly says, Andy's Toys on it, and you see them put a variety of the toys into the box. One of the toys is a piggy bank.
Yeah.
And when they tip the dolly and they're wheeling the boxes out of the room, you hear like coins jingling against plastic.
That's amazing.
Like that's like whoever made that call needs an award.
But they had a crew of people writing that. And that's almost scripted, right? Sound design is scripted.
Oh yeah, especially when it comes to Pixar films. I've read articles before talking about the kinds of stuff that go into specifically Pixar's work in the past and currently. And
realistically, it's most audio you hear in a movie is scripted and added post.
Yeah, every sound effect for the most part. Yeah. Every sound effect. Like I've done audio on location for film stuff, and the only thing we're doing on location is dialogue. And even then, after the fact, a lot of times we do ADR, automated dialogue replacement, and all of the sound effects are added in.
Okay, so Jimmy Jackson says, all right, just asking because I have the mic and the Rodecaster, but I'm seeing video that I need a cloud lifter to use for better sound. I got the equipment in the U.S. shifted down to Nigeria. Any advice?
I mean, unless you're using it
XLR, the MV7 doesn't really need it's better sound.
Yeah, I thought it was transformered on the output of the XLR. On the MV7.
A cloud lifter, cloud lifter doesn't help your sound.
No, the SM7 definitely you need a cloud lifter or a really good preamp for the SM7. But the MV7 I thought was actually better or easier in that respect.
Oh, that reminds me. Before I have to go, 1 second.
Uh-oh.
I got the Triton Fethead, which, by the way, is kind of cool. It comes in this little tube.
Yep. I like it because it's smaller, and I found again on the SM7 it does sound better in my opinion.
The Rodecaster has an EIN of 125 dBu. Thought it was a little higher than that. Anyways, Fethead. So this is going to be I'm going to be doing a video, and Bangs, you're going to appreciate this. I'm doing a video. Do you need an inline preamp? And basically, before anyone says anything, Fetheads, Cloudlifters, Dynamite, they're all the same.
Yeah, they're all ISPs.
They differ so little in the amount of noise that they offer up that it's not even worth. It's not even worth having like a conversation. Just get the cheapest one. So I'm gonna do you need an inline preamp, which I'll go over the specifics of that. But then I'm going to actually put this into a microphone. I'm going to take this apart and I'm going to wire it into a microphone.
Yeah.
And it's either going to go into... There we go. Into the Shure SM7B.
Oh, no.
This little area. If I can get it wired into here...
Oh, poor SM7.
No, it's just this little... this little section where you plug in. I can fit this Fethead probably into there. And it just has to be wired... to this wire.
It's going to be a little cramped, but theoretically.
No, if you look at the internals of this thing, it's nothing. There's hardly anything to a Fethead. Hardly anything at all.
I know. There's probably like JFET situation in there for the amplification, and then maybe a bit of smoothing circuitry.
So I'm going to see if I can fit this into here, or the other option is putting it into an SM58, which there will be no problem fitting it into an SM58. Because, I mean, there's a ton of room in there, especially once you take out all the glue.
Have you ever, do you have a Cloudlifter?
No, I've never bought a Cloudlifter.
I will say, obviously the CL1, as you describe it, is quite similar to, there are some sonic differences paired with different mics between the different inline supplemental pre's like that.
Yeah.
But the one that I have tried that's really worth it, as far as stuff that you can do with it, is the CLZ, the variable impedance Cloudlifter variant, which you can get some interesting sonic character
I can
by
imagine
tweaking that. Yeah, because mics aren't, you're not generally supposed to screw with that, but the the CLZ gives you a giant knob on the surface of it that you can that you can do that. So.
Bang says, beware, you might get electrical interference once out of the casing. I'm wondering about that. That is the one thing I'm wondering about. This idea came from a listener or a viewer who actually messaged me to say that he rammed a Fethead into a 57, SM57, and it worked great.
Well, again,
it wasn't a Fethead. It was another one. It was, oh, shit.
Looking at this port, if you're plugging it into there, like this is metal. If it's grounded, which it should be, just for the sake of regulations, it should be grounded. Then it should act like a Faraday cage, and a lot of that interference, those interference issues, I would think would be negated.
We're going to find out. So the first thing I've got to do is I've got to take both apart, the SM50 or the SM7B and the Fethead, and see if I can fit. Like, there's only about an inch of room in here between the SM7B, the top and the bottom. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of room. We'll see though. It's going to be a fascinating little play.
Oops. Bye, Mika.
There's a decent and cheap preamp from Clark. This is the one the guy used, the Clark. That's the one. You know what? I'm not really going to be hurting it. I'm going to be able to put the Fethead back together. And that's why I don't mind doing this. It's like, this stuff is pretty simple to kind of take apart and put back together. I'm not going to be damaging anything that I can't replace financially. And I'm not, like, honestly, the first goal is I'm not going to damage anything. It's the same thing that I did with the SM58. Nothing's really damaged per se. And I've always wanted to have a Fethead kicking around. So now I have one. I'm just going to see if I can do it, because that's what I want to know. And what are you doing to your microphones over there?
Oh, I was just doing a little inspection of the SM7.
How much room you think in there?
Like maybe a half inch, including the cables that are probably bunched up in there as well, so that you can pull the connector out if you need to.
Yeah.
There's probably I think personally you'd be better off trying to just take everything off the back and stick it in the main cavity.
I've thought about that too. I don't like it. That's less fun for me.
I mean, again, try it by all means. I just don't anticipate it being particularly fun to fit a couple of. Well, I don't know how many, how much of the JFET situation they've crammed. Like 2. I think the Cloud Lifter has 2 in series.
Oh yeah,
for amplification, 2 JFETs. But even still, you open the CL1 box and it's like 80% air.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the reasons in there. Why I went with the FetHead. It's small. I've seen videos of this being dismantled, and I know exactly the size of it. It's tiny.
Well, the nice thing is you can literally like plug it in at the board and just have it sticking at the back, or plug it in at the microphone and have it sticking at the top.
Bang says the cavity is needed for acoustics on a Shure SM7B.
It does contribute.
Yeah.
It does contribute to the acoustics.
I wonder how much I'll change that.
Whether or not it's needed is subjective.
Yeah. Well, I also have to make sure any modification I make to the SM7B can be reversed. Undoable. Yeah.
Well, again, I think just because there's more space in the back there, you'd have to dodge all the EQ circuitry there. But
yeah, well, that wouldn't be a problem. Like I said, thing's tiny.
It's not hard to do. It's just adding to the list of things.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I one of these. It's going to be. I would prefer to be the SM7B. Because of the notoriety of the SM7B and the low gain. The SM58...
My boss just jumped on the stream. I've been told, hi, Dave.
The Aston Stealth essentially has a FetHead built in. That's kind of cool, actually. The cavity... David, I do fancy on Aston at some point, Bangs. I only do voice stuff, so I like that bass roll-off. Aston's actually a nice series of microphones. I've only worked with the Stealth and
the Origin is is a wonderful piece of work.
It is. I really enjoyed that microphone. That's the difference between the SM57 and SM7B is the acoustics of the microphone.
Also humbucking. There's no humbucking on the 57. 57 you put next to a transformer, you're gonna get it's gonna be buzzy as hell.
All right. On that note, I've already gone past the time I'm allowed to work till because I have to go pick up a chandelier from a buddy. Long story. Thanks for joining, everyone. This has been a long one. Well, actually, it's only been about an hour, hasn't it?
Something like that.
All right.
Considering I was super late.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week. Same time, same channel, all that stuff. And I'm going to be doing a thing for the coming up, so I'll start like the stream a little bit early with like a coming up in 10 minutes, just so you guys know. What should I have for dinner, guys? Let's answer that before we go.
Like today?
I would say mac and cheese with hot dogs cut up inside.
Do it. It's a Friday night if I've ever heard one.
I don't even know how old Bangs is, whether or not that sounds good or is gross. That might tell us something. I still like craft dinner with KD, I guess. Yeah, KD with some little hot dogs cut up inside of it. That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Make a whole salad. Make a whole a hot salad out of it. Of hot carbs salad. And cholesterol.
Hot salad. Hot salad and mystery meat. All right. Thanks, guys. Have yourselves a good week. We'll see you next week.
Shouty.